Welcome everyone to ABAS Seasonal Bonsai Series, January 2024, our 1-year anniversary.
It's been quite the journey. We're starting right back where we were at the beginning, so it is January repotting season.
And we're ready to go.
We've got our old dirty clothes on.
And we're going to dig in and have some fun here.
We're starting with our first tree, which was a tiny, pretty small seedling, letting it grow. And this is to show you what it's going to take to turn this into a tree, a nice bonsai tree. And I've decided, since my first bend is here, and if we go by the thirds rules, so that's 1, 2, 3. So ideally, when I'm done, I want it to be this tall. So it's a decent sized tree. So you don't have these little tiny trees all over. I want something decent. So the trunk is like that. I'm thinking I want a trunk about like that. How long is that going to take? Well, I won't be taking care of this tree when it's that old because I'll probably be dead. So this is my legacy for somebody else. So to get there, we have to let it grow freely. I have it in a box, and I'm going to transplant it. The most important thing to me are the roots. So this was fairly shallow when it was potted. I'm going to put it in the same box, but put it higher up. Let's see what the roots look like, and hopefully I can show you why this is a good way to start. If you start getting really good roots, if you want to put it in the ground on a tile to really beef it up, you can. But we're going to see what's going to happen there. So that's why I have this going. It's kind of an experiment. We shall all see how the progression works.
Just something else to consider is that you see this big shoot coming off here. This is primarily to thicken the base and the trunk of the tree. In the end, at some point, this is totally going to go.
Or even there,
because there will be no taper to the trunk. So in order to get taper, you let it grow, let it thicken, cut it off, and then start another shoot that's smaller like this to eventually develop taper into the tree.
All right, I'm going to use this. And this shouldn't be too bad. If it's really bad, I make these boxes with screws. You can unscrew it. And that makes it easier.
We forgot the first step.
It's been a year.
Cut the wires on the bottom of the pot.
It's been a year. Give us a break.
Step 1, cut the
wires. I don't know the planting angle either. That's something else to consider. How am I going to plant this? And we'll look at that right before I put it back in the pot. So I'm just evenly.
Think of this tree with a trunk that's
bigger.
Yes,
huge.
yeah. You don't want, and that's the other thing too. You don't want it to be exactly around the whole way. You have to have some variation. You don't want it to look.
So why'd you cut it off then?
I still want it to slow down.
Oh, so
it's going to slow down.
That's why you cut it off.
Okay, so basically. So the stronger, see, this is the stronger side. This would be the weaker side. So I cut this back stronger. These stay out. I could cut these even a little shorter because I want this. See, there's a big root. Cut off the big guys. Leave the smaller ones. Okay. I'll tell you what. Do I have anything? I'm looking for little rootlets. There might be one there. I'm going to go even shorter because that may come off altogether. And this one. I see roots at the end. Yeah, I'll leave that alone. That's fine.
What does the bottom look like?
And the bottom looks like, well, I think I might need to cut this back some more because it's just a wad. And they will grow out. So I have these guys. I'm going to just because you've got roots coming off this way, they're going to go that way. They're all over the place. I want them to be, oh wait, what's this? Okay. That's my really weak spot. No, that's my really strong spot. So I'm okay. Tridents are pretty forgiving. We hope. And that's where I cut. I'm going to clean that up a little bit flatter.
The reason we're doing this is thinking about putting this into a shallow bonsai pot. You want the roots to come out laterally from around the trunk rather than going down. Anything going down is going to get thick. And in the future, when you want to put it into a shallow pot, they will not cooperate with that. So we want to make sure we get everything out from underneath so that it stays flat and shallow and everything just goes out radially from the trunk.
So basically what I'm doing here, as I run my thumb along here, I can feel them. There's a there and there. And there's these little stubs, so I'm just going to cut them a little bit shorter. And you kind of go by feel a little bit. Okay, what's this? I want to see where this one's coming from. I know. Is it so high? Okay, so here's another. So I found this by feel. And this is really big too, so I can cut that there. Potentially stuff underneath it. Oh, it's already, okay, what the heck. I don't, it's turning, it's straight, so I'm going to cut it there. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, I think we're ready to
Put it back in the
put
box.
it back in the box.
I'm getting the box ready.
This is what happens. You think, oh, that box is too small. Well, when you're going to see it, it's going to go, that box is fine for at least another year. But these will, in another year, it's going to stretch out and hit the end of the box again.
Keep in mind that was 1 year's worth of roots.
Yeah. And that is the other nice thing about boxes. You can put them on the ground. So put them on the ground. They will go into the ground.
But did they go into the ground?
They were heading for the ground.
They were heading for it.
They were
trying
trying
to.
to. Had a little longer, they would have been in the ground. And you just want to use, do you want a drainage layer?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on.
All right. Oops. Let me see how long that thing is. That's how long it is. It's a kind of a bitch to work on. All right, here's our box. We've put new mesh, and this is what you usually use for bonsai. It's sturdier, and we've put some staples in it. It may actually, depending on what the roots do, it could pull up a little bit, but it should be easier to get out. And then we've put number 2, 1.5, 2 wire, aluminum wire in here, just for tie downs for it. So now we're going to go, since it's so, this is the thickness of it, it's so thick, we're going to put a drainage layer in it. And this is a large pumice. Very good. A little bit more. And we're going to plant it higher than it was before. So I'm just going to pour.
And then a layer of soil.
And this is 1/3 akadama, 1/3 decomposed granite, which is what I use. Other people, what do you use instead of the granite?
I use pumice lava and akadama for deciduous, 50% akadama, 25% lava, 25% pumice.
What is this?
This is 50% akadama, 25% decomposed granite, and then I use 25% black lava. Just because I can get it from where I live, I can just go dig up decomposed granite. So, okay.
Oops,
those come up because this is still pretty small. Let's say this is my front. I still, it's going to be a long time before front's truly decided, but obviously this is, so that should be fine.
Yeah, at least it has some nice movement for now.
Yeah. So Renee's going to put some more soil in there to cover this up before we tie it down. Press this down so you don't poke your finger. There's one. Press that down. All right.
Okay, finish it off. Should do it, huh?
That would do it. So we're twice as thick as we were before.
You don't really need a chopstick.
Nah, when you don't need the chopstick. Those roots were so thin, it's going to go through it and fill that spot. But you can give it a little bit of a earthquake.
Yep, earthquake.
And then settle it a little bit.
That settles the soil. Yeah. Okay. Take
Water
it
it.
out, water it.
Back on the bench.
Back on the bench.
We're going to repot Challenger because we had thread grafts. You saw the picture, and they were all coming from the back, coming out the front. So we've had 3 in the back. We want to do more in the front, so we're going to have to repot. And these are our grafting material that we're going to run through the holes. It takes a couple years to grow these, So you have to plan ahead. So these came out of small pots, and you shake them out and you end up with some nice little roots that we can push in there. You'll see that. We also we grew these out for thread grafts because we have a lot of corrections to do on here. And we've made marks for where we're going to run the thread grafts, and that has to be grown on the actual tree or from cuttings from this. That's what we're going to do this one. So we're going to see what's going on under here. Always exciting to repot because you never know.
Never. It's always a surprise.
All right, so flip it over. So same thing. We're going to cut off the tie downs. You want to do it this way?
Well, I was gonna
I'll pull it towards me.
pull it towards you.
Okay. If you cut your wires all the way back to the hole, you're less likely to get hung up. Okay. I don't expect this one to be as difficult as the first one, but you never know. Okay. That's my mark for where the front was.
Help.
That's not bad at all. I think that might come right out.
That's, yep, it's going to pop right out of there. Wow, look at those
Woohoo!
roots. Look at the roots. So this is 1 year.
Yay!
Wow.
Lots of roots.
I can't even, yeah. We have to work those to get them out.
Yep. So you want to
There's one right there.
I need to get that light over here so we get more light on the. Hold on. And let me
I'll hold it.
hold it. Okay.
Actually, it's
This had Osmocote. What was this fertilized with?
Osmocote. The only one that was fertilized with the organic, the low nitrogen organic, was the more finished one.
all right.
The tridents are typically repotted most years in development. Tridents
In- in-
development.
You can wait 2 years. It depends. We could have let this go. We could have let this go another year. This, you have all this root mass. It'll actually slow down the second year. So we could have waited. But we want to do root grafts.
Like the more developed tree was repotted last year. We're not going to repot it this year. There's really no reason to repot it this year.
Because it's growing more slowly, because it's not in this kind of development phase.
I think the wires are still in there somewhere.
And the wires are still in there somewhere.
Because I keep trying to cut them. There's one right there. Did we do a 4-point on this guy?
I'm sure we did.
I probably did, huh? Yeah, we did.
All right, we're going to
Start working the top ends a bit, huh? See where those are. Pardon?
That's probably
a root.
dead.
Or it's a dead thread graft. That's what it is.
We did have 1 or 2 that died.
Root graft.
Root
So
graft.
this is the front. So the roots that are on the back.
Ah.
This
Oh.
is
All right,
Oh, you
let's
cut
do
it.
this side first then.
Yeah.
This is where the roots are growing. And there's one. This one looks like died.
yeah. There was a couple that died,
So this one died.
and here's the. We got to be careful here because we don't want to rip out the what we
That's
just added.
all that's left. Although there's a little bit alive there, but there was no root coming out. That's
I know
the
what that's
the tree. We cut it off at the base. I'm gonna flip around again. These are the right.
yeah. I think that's it grafted on both sides,
Right.
and that's what that was. It was kind of under the wire or over the wire.
So we had put it right there through there, and now
It was just coming. It was going in there someplace.
so those both died.
Those were
And that's
for
another.
roots.
This is another one. This was I think this was a. Was this a thread graft?
Is that a thread graft?
Hey, you did them all on one side.
We did.
So
I don't think
So I
that's
guess
a thread
not.
graft.
Wow, that just grew out. We've got a root down there. All right. Well,
good roots going
we'll
there.
find out what happens. So there's some more wire. Back to the other side. That's our bad side. This is our good side. Right.
It's amazing what will happen in a year.
We're gonna have to go back to the underneath part in a minute, but we can keep going here.
Is that one of our grafts?
This is a graft.
That's a graft, yeah. Yeah, it is.
That's a graft.
That's a graft.
That may be dead.
That's a dead one.
That's it.
Yep.
Wait, no. All right. The other one was alive at the end of it. I'm gonna leave it there for now. I have no idea. I'm not sure what. Oh, here we go. This is. Interesting.
Interesting.
All right. So I don't want ones that are going
Well,
across.
some of these, the thread grafts grafted on both sides.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
They grafted on both sides.
So
That's
these are
a
where.
good thing if they.
If you can use it, it's a great thing. Yeah, if you get it on both sides.
Well, we have to be able to get to where we're going to graft. So.
See, yeah, we got roots on this side. That's pretty cool.
Except the angle is kind of weird.
The angle's a little weird.
So let's turn. This was a root graft. It grew that huge.
Mm-hmm. It was huge.
Easy.
So there's a root there. If we cut this shorter to there,
Mm-hmm.
I can see it.
Yeah, there's a huge root right there.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So
Jeez.
let's clean a little bit more of the underneath this. There's a big knob. You can feel it right there. And there's another huge. Right, you can feel that right there. And above it is nothing. So is this also?
No.
We just cut that because
cut
we
that.
did. It was so
it go
hideously ugly. We just cut it.
And then it budded back. You can see where the roots formed where we made the cut. Right there.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we keep these little guys right
Yeah,
here.
everything underneath.
These are valuable.
Okay. Huh. But then this one, this was one of the ones that was way down.
Yeah.
Which
went
was where we
straight
want to
down.
cut that off. We can't do it yet, but this is one of the places we're going to. Did we thread graft that? And it died?
That might have been one that died. Yeah.
It might have been one that died.
Yep. Get that one too.
Because that's where we needed one there. we need, so trying to, this is our level, so we need one there, we need one here. We have the ones back here. It'd be nice to have another one there. And then we have this whole side, which is problematic. We haven't done anything over here, and you can see the way it dives down.
Both of these, you know, we got a root on this one as well.
Oh, right
there.
this?
This one.
Okay.
We got a root coming out here.
And we have a root right here.
Ah, okay, cool.
So let's open up this area. Let's see, I don't want, this is coming up. Actually, that's coming up. So I don't really want, I mean, I could pull it down. Yeah, I could pull it down. Or I could cut it. That definitely has to come out.
Died. Oh, yeah. Died.
Is it? It's kind of hard for you to see because it's a tangled mess, but as I'm running my fingers under here, I can feel what's going on, and then I can feel, okay, I've got this thing. It's coming from over there. And it's very helpful to untangle those because you want them to come out, like, yeah, because it's like I can feel something big under here. So I have this nice space of roots. Don't know if I can get to it to see it.
I should have set up my
All right,
thing.
and this thing underneath,
You can get rid of that.
I believe I can get rid of that.
Yep.
That was one of the things we left because it was so pathetic. And I think if I cut it, this is all one huge root though. Let's see where it's. All right, so it's going there, it's going here. If I cut it right here, there, I can feel it. So I'm going to cut it right there, and I should be able to just pull that out. Fingers crossed. Ouch. I'm going to do it right here. Huh.
It's not that
Well,
much.
wonderful. It's not that much. We could probably go.
Yeah, can't you take that?
I think we can take.
We'll see. I believe we can take the whole thing.
That whole big.
I wanted to
thing
start
there.
to make sure it was going. So there's a piece there. So what's
Flip
on?
it over.
So that, but that is, wait, that is this right here. And we're going to put grafts in there.
Here?
Well, up here.
Up here.
But this is that root, and
Yeah.
I can feel it.
You keep it alive.
Do we keep it alive? Or do we? I think we can cut it back. But I think we need to keep it alive one more year. I can cut, well, if it's coming here, I can definitely cut this part off because that's not doing anything. Yeah.
You want some bigger cutters, Carmen? My big guys are down there.
It's just like you have, there's your wound right there. I think that's where we cut it. These guys, Renee?
Mm-hmm.
Were you thinking these?
I was thinking those, yeah. I was thinking those.
Whoops. I guess it doesn't. It's not critical. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. I think there's some dead under there.
I think so. can see what you're doing. Just don't get my fingers.
There's a root there, but I think I can just. There we go. Ha. Okay. A little bit more right there. Ah, there it is. You're getting a great shot of my elbow, Dodie.
No.
Okay.
Get in there.
There we go. And then one more. Ooh, there's a root. Or this is just a thickness. I don't think it's a root. Can I take this whole thing off?
Well, weren't you going to
Yeah.
leave some of these for?
I do want to leave some of those. I'm just going to
Yep.
flatten this out, and then I think
Yep.
I'm happy. Okay.
Okay.
Bishk. So eventually, this whole thing has to come off after we get roots growing across there. So we want a few roots. There don't have to be a whole lot. It's going to regrow them. So if we keep going, and our next thing is this. See that separation right there? This guy. There's a huge root.
Yeah.
So as long as I have this here and this here, I can cut that off. Yes? Yes.
Part of it, I would say. Some of the big stuff. See, there's this big thing going crossing over under here.
Mm-hmm.
See, this we could cut off. This big thing crossing over.
There's more roots even under it.
Under it, yeah.
See
Yes.
this?
Oh,
We
they're
can
very
cut. We
shallow.
can cut this off right here. You can see this.
That.
Where does this come from?
Couldn't tell you. It looks like it came from there and wrapped under here and then melded
Fused.
into fused into this. Definitely that one.
That one, definitely that one can come off. Yes, absolutely. Did it go through?
No.
Not yet. It sort of did.
It sorted. Ooh,
Yeah,
there.
it did.
There's a dead part in it. That's
Dead
why
part,
it's so
yeah.
nasty. One more. There. Okay. And let's flatten this out a little bit so it's not so.
Okay.
So let me show them what it looks like underneath now. So that was cut off right there. And then I have a little knob to cut off there. Keep cutting, huh? So we have an X left. Can we cut this back? We have roots here and here. Can I cut this?
Oh, yeah.
So as long as I have roots back there, I'm going to leave some of this here, but I can definitely. Yeah, it's got a dead center. Well, that's how old this thing is. It's been through hell and back. Okay.
Okay.
What is that?
What's what?
That
It's a
part?
root from way over here. Remember what
It
that
goes
looked
across-
like? I mean, it just all
it goes
crisscrosses and
Yeah, it's like, see, it comes from here and out here, and then it went through here, and then this one come down over the top of it. Yeah, it was kind of like I said, a Rubik's Cube.
oh well. You see the way that is? You can see that ridge right there, Renee?
Yeah,
Feel that?
yeah.
Can I flatten that out some more, or do I need to bother? Because it's kind of holding this up flat.
Well, I think
yeah.
eventually we're going to take the whole thing off anyway.
Right, so we'll leave it there.
leave it
It's
there
going
for
to
now.
kind of keep it from tipping So anyway, we're deciding where to put our thread grafts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for root grafts. So 5. So if we do 1, 2, turn, I would like to do one next to that. And I want to kind of score that, and maybe that will heal. But yeah, that's a huge hole. But if we can go right next to it, that will help also. So 1, 2, 3. And then we have, ooh, big stretch. I think we had one there that didn't make it. So 4, 5.
So here,
Yeah, at the same level as
Yep.
that.
right in there.
Why wouldn't you do it in there?
We are.
Oh,
I think we're going to do 2 here, right, Carmen?
Yeah. Yep.
Like right in here?
Yeah, that's fine. And we may need to revisit this and maybe there. But
what if
we
you
could
skip
do
this one over here where the hole needs to heal and try it later?
1, 2, 3,
4, 5.
4, 5. Those are probably more important. We could just score this a little bit and see what happens there. Yeah, those are probably more important. Because the front is right there. And so this would be in the back. Okay. Yep. Let's do that.
Front is here, yes.
Yeah.
Front's more important.
Do some slight prep on the scions. So I've taken off all of the, the hole will be big enough for these to go through. If not, I could always just pop that one off. As long as there's a couple, it's going to be fine, and it gets smaller towards the top. So I've done them all except this one. So all of these little guys, come on. And when you look at that, say we're going to put this one through, obviously that's not wide enough. It has to be that wide. I also have this one, and that's almost exactly. Yeah, try a small one first. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. And it is nice to use a slightly smaller size because it kind of tears it up. So those two are ready to go. All right, we're going to pick 2 of these. This one and this one's huge. This one could be a problem. Maybe we'll save that one for last.
Save that one for the...
Do the easy ones first. Lots and lots of roots on this one. This is gorgeous. All right, so let's go. All right, so there it's coming through the other side. And once I have buds on that side, it doesn't matter if the other ones break off.
As long as the tips are
As long
good.
as the tip's there. Renee pulls from that side. So now,
Get her lined up.
that looks pretty good. So now we look at this, and I have all of these roots coming up that I don't want. Because they're just going to stick out. So definitely right there. Because I want them all to kind of go down. This is really, really nice.
That's a nice one. Yeah, that's very good.
Okay, so we're going to do the final snugly. Push, push, push.
I'm pulling.
There it goes. Okay. So I can cut a little bit more of this off, I think, right there. It wasn't much, but it was a knob sitting there. Could cut. I think I should cut that off. Yeah.
No, that's good.
I want that. So
that
there,
one we
so
want.
there we are. Really, really nice.
That's a nice one. That's very nice.
That one's gonna work. All right, second one. Oh, this is part of the, I definitely don't need that much. Okay. You see that you have to be careful if they run into each other too, which I could cut that, but I don't think I'm going to need to. There's our hole. Lots of buds.
Lots of
We'll
good
grab
buds
that.
coming through.
Pull, pull, pull. Oops, one of the roots is coming through. All right. Didn't cut that as well.
There's a long guy there too.
Mhm. They'll probably rub off, but it's nicer to cut them. Less tear. Wait. Okay. All right. So I'm looking at the base of this. So it's turning down right there and then turns up again. If I do that, I've got a hump that's turning up. So it has to be like this. And pull. I'm pulling. There we go.
Go ahead.
All right, we had to step away from this for a little bit, and it's pretty wet, but I'm going to, since we're still going to do some more work and make sure that everything is damp. It's a cold day, so not as bad as a hot day. All right, we did that far side. Here's the one where we did 3. So I have 1, 2. Where's the third?
Right here.
Oh, right here underneath. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, because there was nothing between here and here. You can see where they came out. Didn't go very far through there. And this is interesting. We've got 3. We're gonna tie those up. This one is an old one, but it's really thick. There's a couple tiny roots here, but I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna put a couple little nicks in it
And why are you doing that?
to promote roots will grow there. Considering how many roots this thing grew from the way it looked, it did a pretty good job on its own, truly. We're just trying to help. Okay.
What's the long-term plan for that root?
And we did that because we want this one and this one to grow. But it'd be nice if some more came out here. We've got these growing pretty strongly, so I can cut back all this. See how I've got stuff up there. I even have stuff right there, so I can cut. So I'm going to cut this shorter, and then hopefully that will also put back the growth farther back. And we'll hopefully get some roots coming up there.
And you'll eventually do what to that big fat thing?
It's going to go like that.
Okay.
We still have this big thing under here. I've got to cut this off. I don't know what it is. I'm cutting it off. I can see it. I can feel it. Mostly I can feel it.
Turn it up so you can see it a bit.
It's right here.
It's right there.
It's that. And it's not connected
To any of our root grafts.
any
Okay.
of our root grafts. It's that big around. Oh yeah. It's coming from right. It's part of that. Didn't see that before. Okay, we're going to cut that a little bit farther back without cutting my fingers. There we go. There. Now we're a little bit flatter too.
Got rid of a lot of stuff down there. That's great.
We did.
Yes, awesome.
Not
They
bad.
all fit really
They
well.
all fit. We
They're
shoved
nice
these
and
puppies
tight.
in and pulled really taut.
We didn't
So-
even have to put a chopstick
no,
or
no,
anything
sure.
in there.
No, it's
They're so
snug-
nice and
it's
tight.
Snugged up. All right, so the pot, Renee.
Fits like a glove. let's put a little more right here.
And there's a little right there. Okay.
And some people think bonsai boring.
Oh, yeah.
Never.
So I'm going to sprinkle this on, and then we'll wet it down.
And this is
Shredded sphagnum moss.
And this is the New Zealand.
This is the New Zealand. Yes.
And it just has a
It's
nice,
nice and clean and
soft, easier to crumble.
easy to work with. A lot less stuff in it, debris, twigs, that kind of stuff. Okay.
Why are you spraying it?
Before you water it.
Why am I spraying it, wetting it down? Because it'll blow right off of there if you don't. I mean, it tries to blow off even when you're spraying it. Once you get it wet, it sticks and it's okay. But when it's dry, it just blows right off. It's very light.
So now we have to do thread grabs. I hope this is worth it. So when you look at where we started for this, it's almost like the smallest one where we're growing it from scratch. There's so much that we have to do with this, and it's going to take a long time. But it's interesting, and we're all learning things from it, so you kind of take it as a learning experience. Okay, here's the problem child who said, Mr. Ugly. We're going to call him Mr. Ugly. And the peanut gallery said, but ugly. And I could agree with that. So where we are with this one, we didn't repot it this year because I don't have the whips to do root grafts. We used them all up on Challenger. So, and I loaned some to somebody. So this has to wait another year, and it's probably not a big deal. We still have one more thread graft or root graft. We cut the other ones off, so they should be fine underneath. We just don't know. It's going to be a real surprise next January. But our problem with this, which is endless problems, and this is what I'm going to look at in May. I'm going to let it grow out again, and this has to be cut back. So I kind of have two options here in May when everything's taking off. We'll know what's actually growing really well. I can whack this thing off here, and that'll heal up. So what the heck if I'm desperate. But I think I want to try to, let me show a few in the back and see how they're healing. They're just healing ugly. So I could cut this off depending on what's coming out. This could be, probably over here would be the apex. So cut this all off and start again. I have a bud there, I have a bud there, I have a bud there. It's got all kinds of buds on it. So it's gonna do its thing for me. I just don't know where and how strongly. So we're gonna revisit that in May.
Why didn't we cut that off?
Because it's really weak. There were a total of 3. The other 2 were just strong, going crazy. I don't need to. I can just let it go. I just have to make sure, and I put some wire on it so I can move it away from whatever's growing over there because I don't want it to impede anything because I'm just going to let that grow. And I'm going to let everything else grow. Hope things are better in May. All right, we had some technical difficulties. So you can't see any of the thread grafting video part of it, but this is the afterwards. So I'm just going to kind of show you what we did. We did 4 of them. So there's one right here, and you can see where we left this little bit. This is where we want it to bud out. It will bud out there, but if we then later cut it back, this is what we want. So we have one there, and we put paste on both sides of it. You can see kind of on this how it works. This is another one. So about the same distance coming out, but this is the little extra sticking out there. So that's 1 and 2. And, okay, this is the one going in. This is where it comes out. And that's so we can cut this whole big ugly thing off. Okay, and our 4th one. 1, 2. Oh, this one right here. So came under here, comes out here. We've got those nice little bud in the back, and then this is a fairly long inner node, but then it's short again. So it'll bud out there, and at some point we should be able to cut it back there, and that's to get rid of this whole branch. So the other thing I wanted to let you know is these are pretty short, and we've got all of this stuff going on up above it. So one of the things that I didn't do the last time that I realized it's kind of helpful, this needs air and light. And if you've got all this stuff is all going to take off and grow, this is going to be huge. So I cut off a little bit there, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off like that. Actually, I'm going to take this one off too, because I want this to keep getting air and light. And we're not going to use this anyway, and this has got tons of buds. So that should be better now. The other thing is, as this grows, it will start, these are all going to shoot out, and they'll end up being huge. We don't want those. So if you want to cut those back as they get bigger, that lets more light and air in there. Because if this gets really strong coming out of here, we don't want this at all. So just make sure that there's enough growth that this takes off, and then cut off the other stuff on top. Okay, so then the other next one that's going in, see this one is coming out. There's nothing here. And same thing, just make sure that should be okay because there's nothing growing there. And if there's a little bud right there, I'm going to take that off so that doesn't grow. And then this one, so I'm going to cut that off. And I did cut something else off, I remember, so that this is okay. And actually, I'm going to cut off, even though that's there, because it's going backwards, so it could impact that. This one's great. It's open, should be fine. It's actually going to cut. It's something you have to kind of watch over the year to make sure that this, you'll know pretty quickly whether it takes or doesn't. Okay, and I think that's about all. There's some dead stuff. You can still go in and cut off the dead that you don't need. You can always do that. It looks better when you do it. So we've got this thing set up, ready to go. Wait, front, there. We'll see what happens.
Okay, so now we're taking a look at our more refined tree that we've been working on since last January. Just to kind of review what we've done over the year. Last January, this tree was taken out of a growing pot and put into more of a smaller size pot. Why did we do that? Well, because the trunk and primary, secondary branches on this tree are pretty well developed. So now we're focusing on developing the ramification. Putting it in a smaller pot will keep it from growing so strong. So hopefully we'll get shorter internodes and be able to really work on developing the finer ramification on this tree. So over this last year, we repotted it. We defoliated it in May, June, and did our silhouette pruning and fine pruning. Didn't really do a lot during the year because it's just growing pretty slowly. Putting it in this small pot, I really noticed how much slower the tree grew. So it was a little bit weak, so we only defoliated it once because it was growing pretty weak. But that in a way is good because we get short internodes, and that's what we're after. This is not a big tree. This tree cannot handle big long internodes. If you'll notice on this one branch, this lower branch, this is an example of how something develops when it buds out on the lower part of the tree. This branch wasn't even here 3 years ago, but I got a bud that came out, and I decided that was a good place for the primary branch to be. But developing this branch on the lower part of the tree is a little more difficult because it's shaded by the upper part of the tree. So we've been working on trying to get ramification in this branch. I've let some things run. I let this branch run. If you can see this big, thick branch back here, I let this run a little bit too long. I was trying to thicken it, but I let it get too thick. So now I'm looking at actually taking this whole thing off, cutting it all the way back to the base. This branch budded out, so we have this smaller one coming out, but still it has pretty long internodes. I'm going to leave it like this. You can see there's a pair of buds back here, which is eventually, if things go well, eventually those two buds are going to be, start the branching, the ramification of the branch. We're going to actually cut it back to here. But for right now, I want to make sure that this little shoot here has enough energy to keep it going. So I'll watch it very closely, during the springtime to see what happens. If it looks like this is getting a little too weak, I might actually even cut something off above it to give it more light. Other than that, for continuing development for this year, we did our dormant sprays. We did lime sulfur dormant spray in December, and we're going to just let this guy grow between now and May. Not going to really do a lot to it, just going to let it run and grow. Not going to fertilize it at all right now, because the spring push, when it starts to grow this spring, that's a very strong push of growth. So you don't want to fertilize it and encourage long internodes during that first spring push of growth. So we're going to wait until May to fertilize, and in May we'll defoliate, cut back, and fertilize at that time. So that's about all. Oh, we have one little shoot back here. I was trying to thicken this a little bit. Still working on developing the ramification here. Let this run. I'm hoping this runs a little bit longer, because I'm thinking maybe we need another branch down in here someplace. So if everything works out well, I can use this in May when I defoliate. I can use this in May to do a thread graft through here and see if I can add a little bit more density in this area. It's there's a kind of a long run here where there's nothing. So I'm thinking it might look better if there was a little branch in there. We'll see. We'll think about that. Other than that, I think we're set up for spring. I'm going to let it grow. Carmen, do you have anything you want to say about this?
Look at all these little buds. So do you do anything with
those little guys?
Little guys, they're everywhere, which is wonderful. Wow.
Actually, if I want to use them, I'll let them. If I don't want them, I will take them off. We don't want things to thicken. Sometimes if you get too many buds in certain areas, you'll get too much thickening. So if there's too many buds coming out in one area, we might thin those back so we don't get thickening, get knob things forming.
But right now it looks very balanced.
Yeah, right now it's balanced. We got to watch it real close. I see what you're saying. We have like something coming up down here and there. So when something comes out like that, what you ask yourself is, if I let that grow, do I want another branch there? Do I want to develop growth there for any reason? If I don't, I'll go ahead and take those off. If I do want something, if I want something coming down into here, I might let those grow. But that's the question you ask if you got buds popping up.
But just letting it grow slows things down.
Yes.
So you don't need to do it now when you see it. You can wait until a little bit later, till everything's coming out and things start slowing down.
Yes.
And then
take them off. Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
So other than that, I think that's about all we have to say about this guy. So we'll see what it looks like in May and do some work on it then.
We've finished a year in the life of these trees. It's been a lot of fun. How many times? 4 or 5 times, I think. So 2024, we're still going to watch these trees and take pictures and do some videos. It's not going to be as often because it's a royal pain. Fun, but a pain. And we're also kind of pulling out pictures through the year, and we're going to continue that and do a progression because it's fascinating to see what's happening like under the soil and comparing to what's happening with the trees. So that's something else we're planning for next year.